Welcome back to Make It Mental, everybody. What you're looking at here is my Redcat Racing short course truck. I got some new turnbuckles slash toe links. I lost one, so I'm in the process of replacing them. And as you can tell, I got 3 out of the 4 adjusted. So I figured I'd share with you guys the process, because just because you order a brand new part doesn't mean it's going to snap in there and be perfect, especially if it's an adjustable piece such as that one. And as you can tell by this one here, it is, we have a severe toe in, and this one here was severely toed in, this one was toed out, this one was toed out, and they came in, well, they came differently anyway. So, and they're not labeled front, back, or anything like that. So be prepared when you replace these parts on your vehicle that you're going to have to do another alignment. When you replace things like shocks or turnbuckles, I recommend replacing them in pairs or in a complete set of 4 if you can, just because they all have the same wear on them, right? They all have, like, for example, 10 hours of use on them. Just because I lost one doesn't mean I should just replace one. They all have the same amount of wear on them. I should go ahead and replace all 4. Since this packet came with 4, although I believe it was advertised as 2 pieces, it came with 4 of them. So I've replaced all 4. What you're going to want, a long straight edge, within reason. We don't need an 8-foot long straight edge. You're going to want some tools. These are handmade tools. One for adjusting the camber, the other one for adjusting the tool. You can use a pair of pliers and probably a square or a block of wood that is cut to square. This verifies that your tire is sitting in the vertical position. So what I'm going to finish doing now is finish tightening this in. Depending on which way you oriented this thing, it may be righty-tighty or lefty-tighty. It depends on which way you oriented your turnbuckles or toe links. Same thing, just different orientation on the vehicle. So let me finish tightening this one. I'll try and go through a basic alignment procedure with you guys to help you out. You might find it helpful to hold a pair of pliers right here or somewhere right here in a flat spot as you tighten this one with another tool. I can't do that because I'm holding my phone here in my hand. I can't do that with you guys live. So hold one here, tighten it one way or the other. It all depends on which way you oriented it, and then adjust it so it looks correct, right? Start from there. Although not finished, here's a basic look. We're just going by what you can see with your eyes. Does it look somewhat straight? This tire parallel with that tire? Does that tire look parallel with that tire? And then once you're satisfied with your eyes on what you can do, now start taking something that you know is more square than your eyes. That looks pretty good. I'll come down here, and it looks like I got a little bit of positive camber right there, is because we can see that we got a gap there, but we don't have a gap there. So that one is going to need to be tightened. And we'll come over here to this side here. That side looks pretty good. It might need a little bit of tightening as well. Come over here to this wheel. That looks pretty good. And we'll switch it around. You can do the same thing with a block of wood. And that side looks pretty good. We'll take our long straight edge and compare it to the tire, front to back. Compare it and see how it looks. Alright, it's looking pretty happy for the most part. And I'll put a slight little pressure on the tire and see what it looks like, because under acceleration, at very first snap of the throttle, the tire is going to try and turn in, but then the vehicle is going to accelerate, and then it's going to come back out. So when it comes back out, that's what I tune for. So I lay it up against there gently, and I'll recheck the alignment, and I'll do the same thing on the front. under acceleration, just very light pressure, just kind of taking up the slack, very slight pressure. Put the ruler up against there. We'll slide it up against the tire right here. We can see we have a little bit of adjustment to do right there. We have a little bit of a gap. It may be hard to discern that on camera, but that's probably in actuality quite doable for most people. Depends on your level of perfection that you want. Again, light pressure upon the tire wheel combination. We're looking pretty good. And the next step is we'll drop the body on there and we'll compare it to the body lines. Visually, it doesn't look too bad. Because this chassis is tapered, meaning it's wider at the back side than it is at the front side, it's a little bit more difficult to align a vehicle such as this. But visually, we're looking pretty happy. I don't know if the steering servo is exactly centered or not, but we're going to mechanically align it straight before we do any digital alignments. All right? Always get it as straight as possible mechanically before going through electronic alignments. Again, we're going to take our ruler and we'll lay it up against both wheels. We'll compare it, stand up on there, and see if we see anything, any kind of abnormalities. That side's looking pretty happy. And put you back on there. Now from the top down, we're just going to kind of compare the wheel arch, or where the wheel well opening is, to the tire. We do the same thing on the front or the rear and see if that looks the same. And just continue our adjustment process as needed. I think you got the basic idea what's going on here. Use a ruler, use a square or a block of wood, and just slowly take your time, adjust each one, and then when you adjust your toe, you're probably going to have to adjust your camber. Remove the body back off now that we had a good visual confirmation there.